What would you describe yourself as?
Um, I don't know. First, I guess I'd be a student. But the stuff I take the most pride in is being a psi practitioner. My mother had a tremendous amount of intuition and psychic ability, and I've always had the knowledge that this ability is real. And although it's not 100% of the time, like, your other senses aren't flawless.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that stuff's been so important to me, and contact stuff's been very important. And a few years ago, I decided to come out and let people know what I have been doing, what I am doing, and to approach the researchers to get at this human potential. So, to make a long story short, I take most pride in being a psi practitioner,
Okay.
in these different arts. And it's an incredible mystery that we're literally in the front seat of. And we're only limited by our intelligence and our tenacity to discover the secrets behind these mysteries.
Of course, your career was taking a different route there at one stage, but you were heading down the entertainment path.
I've always done entertainment.
Yeah, I was going to say, what caused the switch? I mean, you've given away a possible chance of a life of, I want to say luxury, but you've decided to go down this route. What prompted it?
I've done comedy. That's really my thing, is comedy. When I was a kid, I could notice that my mom was depressed. And so I got up on the table and sang and danced and did all these things. And she was in the middle of the divorce separation with my father. And I think comedy was God's gift to me to give to my mother and to give to others. And so I always did comedy since very young. And after she passed, I kind of lost the will to do comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But I continued and always have been doing this psi practicing. And I've worked for some of the very, very best groups and agencies and insane stuff we can get into that's just mind-boggling.
Right.
But really based in science. And it's hard, this is a big meal. And it requires bites. You can't swallow it all at once. You have to know that first, these abilities are real. There is some strange field, which is the speculation now, or some strange something that allows us to see distant places and times, that allows us to connect without our traditional senses. It allows us to physically affect things at a distance. And, about 40 years ago, the well-known psychics, Uri Geller and Ingo Swann, they had worked for the CIA for 20 years and Stanford Research Institute. And there were two different guys. One was more a commercial guy out to, bend spoons and sell stuff. And the other guy really wanted to go to the researchers, and that was Ingo Swann. And I wanted to be one of those Ingo Swann types. I wanted to go directly to the researchers and the scientists because I knew, I could repeat these things in front of people because I've done it before.
Yep.
From getting a compass to, doing good remote viewing, and not just remote viewing. There's a whole bunch of different types of viewing, so to speak.
Yeah. Can you talk about the work you do with the scientists?
Sure. There's a range of work, and it all depends on the scientists. I've worked with a French group on the growth rate of crystals and algae, and I will not be a part of anything that stunts the growth of anything, even if it's a crystal. I don't want to stunt the growth. I'd only increase the growth. But different researchers are the head scientists from Skinwalker Ranch. I can now finally speak about. Those of you who don't know about Skinwalker Ranch, it's basically the premier paranormal location in the United States that the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency and a billionaire all purchased and got involved with to find out the secrets. And there's major stuff, and has been major stuff going on there. And I've been working there, working with the head scientist there for, you know, almost 2 years. And wow.
Can you say anything about what you've discovered?
Sure. You know, we oftentimes, there's a way to tie this whole subject together. And it's going to take a moment to express it all, but basically, there's something called the two-slit experiment. And this is an experiment in physics. And basically, to make a long story short, what it kind of proves is that human consciousness affects physical matter, and that our consciousness isn't separate from the universe, that our consciousness is literally woven into the universe. So consciousness has an ability to affect our surroundings. And some people have more of an ability than others for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes at hauntings, you'll find a distraught young woman or a distraught child. And the way that I look at it is these are creations of the child. They're not separate ghosts or demons from hell or any of that stuff. These are literal creations of the child. And there are other things that can be created by the mind. And at Skinwalker Ranch, the different people who've gone there have had different experiences based on the type of person they were. If it was a military soldier, they would have a very militarized kind of hostile experience. If they were a empathic, caring person, they'd have beautiful light shows or a neat swirl of nature. So, ultimately, Jacques Vallée, who's one of the premier UFO investigators, and Eric Davis, one of the premier behind-the-scenes physicists, they came up with a model of our universe, of our reality, that states that somehow consciousness is more involved than we even think. They didn't take any further leaps, but I take that next big leap and say that there is this ability to do all these things. And the human mind can not only touch different places, it can build things. It can create illusions. And under the right circumstances, it can do some physical things that just would melt your reality. And it sounds too fanciful, but I've seen too much, and I've been a part of too much. I've been able to demonstrate the ability to affect machines at a distance. I've been able to do that consistently. And even when people pray, oftentimes someone will say, "Would you pray for me?" And there's been tons of studies on the power of prayer, and that is acting over a distance. And the power of prayer does help people. There's no question it affects people, and it affects dramatically even. And that's psychokinesis right there, affecting something physical at a distance. And, I think we're so, we teach our kids about physical education as they grow up, but we don't give them consciousness education.
Right.
And exploring your consciousness, exploring your abilities, and exploring this as a very legitimate subject. Now that, there's people who can repeat these phenomenal events, can do amazing things, and it's repeatable. It helps the scientific world because now they can say, like, oh my gosh, this person can do it and can repeat it. Now we can try a bunch of experiments on it and see if it can go this way or it can go that way. So I've been experimenting everything from doing the crystals to remote viewing distant celestial objects to military, potential military threats, to criminals, to archaeological sites.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
missing kids, all sorts of things. And it's just been such a fun and wonderful exploration.
Yeah, I just pick up on a couple of points there, buddy, about consciousness being able to affect physical reality. I mean, just using a couple of religious examples, our Creator said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and created everything within, in 7 days. And as far as prayer is concerned, I always believe that you pray from a point that we've already got it instead of asking for it. So
Mm-hmm.
prayer should be like putting your hand in the cookie jar and taking it because it's already there.
Absolutely. And you know what? You said a wonderful quote, "Let there be light." And there is this whole series of things. We kind of come up with a description of someone called a PK displayer. Remember how I described that girl and she created a haunting with effects?
Mm-hmm.
If you take a human being who is a prodigious savant, there's a long bunch of reasons why I'm naming these specific things. You take a person who's a prodigious savant, you put them under pressure, they have no spiritual release, and a couple other factors, and they can display phenomena. And one of the first uncontrolled phenomena that a person can create is light balls. Now, there's a lot of famous cases throughout history. Imagine you are on a B-52 bomber on your last mission in World War II. You're in the ball turret, one of the most grim of places to be. Tremendous amount of stress, tremendous amount of pressure. Poof. Foo Fighters. Imagine you're a young girl, one of 3 sisters, and you have a group of people that have come to see a religious experience that you've beckoned them to come see. Poof, Fatima and the dancing lights. You are a nuclear control operator with your key, your finger, literally on the destruct button. Poof, Malmstrom nuclear launch sites, repeatedly visited by UFOs. I could give you case after case just like that, and suddenly it starts to click and make sense. It's very bizarre that this happens. And there's a big mystery in UFOs and phenomena. They have several things that match. With both UFOs and phenomena, the phenomena and the UFO event somehow follows experiencers home with different effects and phenomena. Second of all, it mirrors them, either physically copying their movement, or it mirrors them, like I was saying about Skinwalker.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one is they're precognizant. The UFOs are somehow know where the fighter pilot's going to go next. Where's their next waypoint? And with the events at Skinwalker, they kept, and still, through all these years, the phenomena was outsmarting them because it was precognizant. It knew what they were going to do.
Right.
Simple explanation. It follows you home because it's you. It mirrors you because it's you.
Okay.
All the different things that they are attributed is it's you. Now, I'm not saying that all UFOs are created by the mind, but even Jacques Vallée and Eric Davis and several others, Terence McKenna, some great minds have said there's a very good possibility that some of the solid craft even may be constructs of an intense mind.